Welcome to TechSign Talks. We're at SAP Sapphire in Orlando, and we're talking to Manos Raptopoulos. He's the Chief Revenue Officer at SAP. Welcome, Manos.
Nice to meet you, Koen. Thank you very much for coming over.
Yeah, the keynote just happened. You announced a whole new strategy change in your pricing models. You're going for transparency. That's really new in ERP because usually it's, you need to talk to you guys, you need the proof of concept, and then somewhere down the line a proposal comes. But now you're saying we're repackaging everything and we're putting the prices on the side, etc. Why?
So it's a very good question. Firstly, as you rightfully said, it is about commercial transparency. We need to give our customers the choice from one side, but also the insight in terms of what is inside those packages and how we come to those prices. As pricing itself is not so important for us, the most important part is that technology has become quite more complex in the last years. We have been innovating and adding more SKUs, as we call them, more line items in our price list. And at some point that becomes too cumbersome from a commercial perspective, but also from a perspective of how you manage those assets if you are a customer. And certain times those customers do not know exactly how much they want to buy from each and every line item, but they want to reshuffle after a while. So you start with a plan, then the plan changes and you want to reshuffle. Therefore, we came up with this pricing concept of a bundle, which is not new to the industry, but for us, it's a re-approach of our pricing strategy.
You went back to like 35 line items or something.
Yes, to a simpler, more cohesive way of a bundle, because we try to organize ourselves around the personas that are going to be using our solutions. Let's say typically persona is a CFO. What is a CFO interested in? Closing of the books, cash flow, compliance, those types of things. So we create bundles at different levels in which all those previously existing SKUs are rebundled in those packages. And that gives the customer the opportunity to use and address the suite in a better way. And that's an important element of what I mentioned about the suite. You probably saw that also on stage. It's in the world of AI, it's not about best of breed. It's a suite that appears and functions as a best of breed in a suite mode. So as much as possible, less interfacing and more fluid customer experience or user experience coming from the solution. Therefore, the package leads us to the point of adoption. So the customer should more fluidly take our solutions, purchase the solutions, but most importantly, they need to adopt those solutions as they carry forward and exchange.
So they can start with finance, for example, and they can extend to HR and to other...
From one side, or they can grow vertically. They start with finance base and they go to finance advanced because they use more of the package going forward. And within the package, they can exchange the previously existing SKUs because the package gives a more fluid way to consume the suite, basically.
And is there like a line between what's in the base and what's in the more advanced version?
Clearly articulated.
Yeah. Okay. And you have different personas you aim on. Can you name a few more? You have HR, you have finance.
We have a chief procurement officer. We have a chief supply chain officer or manufacturing, depending on the company. Chief sales officer when it comes to sales. So all the different personas that you can address in a company structure.
And that's like the horizontal, and then you have the vertical going down in more extensive feature sets, I guess.
Exactly. Like packages of feature sets, exactly.
Yeah. And that's based on a per user per month model, right?
Exactly.
So you have fixed prices per seat, basically, for...
Exactly.
Okay, and you're going to publish that as well on your site?
Yes, that's the intention, so that customers understand what is in the package. And by the way, that will also be including the AI components, the AI functionalities that come out of the box versus those that are, let's say, parts of higher package.
When is this going to be available for customers?
It's available already since launch here in Sapphire. Of course, as it usually happens, we have a transition period because there are certain customers that are in flight even for this quarter, but we are starting right away.
But in next week, your site will be updated, probably.
Indeed.
Okay. And what you just said is also interesting because you said there is AI included in the base, but there's also an additional AI add-on if you want to do more. But you still kept it to the per user per month base. But I know in your industry, there's a whole discussion going on. Are we going to include it in our licensing, or are we doing it on a usage base?
Yes. Yeah, it's an open discussion, right? Yeah. So we believe that the software and the pricing of the software should be corresponding to the value that the customers extract out of it. Therefore, There are scenarios that are higher value, and as such, they are not part of the base package. And there are other scenarios that are, let's say, more normal functionality that customers would expect that it's part of a normal, let me call it, use of the suite. Therefore, we do distinguish from our side. But you're right, the debate is on, and we may change in the future as well. But right now, we feel that there is enough flexibility in our price list in order for customers to make the right call and the right decision when it comes to AI.
And they can use it unlimited, the AI features.
The AI features, they can use it unlimited as long as they are part of the package that they have purchased. Yes,
okay.
We are not charging by access or by CPU, whatever, at this point in time.
Okay. And with being more transparent in your pricing, do you expect your competitors to do the same? Because it is new in the whole ERP landscape to be really transparent in this.
You can argue, yes. I think our motivation was not so much to address a competitive, let me call it, move or threat, but it was most to give our customers the ability to look at SAP for what it is, which is a suite of applications that I mentioned before, and Mohammed was saying on stage, is best of breed as a suite. This is what we are launching, and there is a lot of product truth under that. And in the age of AI, customers are interested about specific outcomes, not so much about the specific bill of material item or functionality or feature. Therefore, we are trying to make it simpler so that customers understand how to consume the solution in a more fluid way. Therefore, it was not so much a response to the competition, but rather to where we see the market going at this point, what our customers are telling us. And it is likely that the competition might respond in a similar way.
How usable is the base version of your product? Does every organization need to buy like the extended version of the product, do you think? Or is the base version good enough? Can you give some insight in that?
I think the base version is good enough. It is designed in a way so that it includes even more components than the actual perimeter, let's say, so that you have a little bit of an additional feature or function that you can adopt later. The truth of the matter is that if you have customers that are utilizing the suite for a long time, or they are really deep, or they are a complex organization, they probably need to go for the extended package. But this is why you have to distinguish. By the way, there are different customers that are in different phases. Someone needs to start, and they need to start smaller, and they want to grow predictably in the future. That's another benefit of having the two different packages. We have customers in the mid-market space, which they are not having advanced necessary features. Let's say you don't have advanced planning in manufacturing. You don't need to purchase that. Therefore, that modularity gives that ability for customers to either grow as they go or select the real functionalities that they need outside.
And the prices are also affordable for mid-market companies.
The insight that we have is that they are, yes.
Okay.
We normally move through partners, through our ecosystem in that space. And this is where we get also most of the information. You can always argue if there is a more price competitive partner, but we go for the end-to-end optimization of the process. Therefore, if a customer looks at this element, the end-to-end, I believe the price is competitive.
Okay, because we are moving more towards a best of suite world now. We've seen many angles of this, but we really believe now it's going back to best of suite. And what I've seen, for example, by Salesforce is they have created a suite as well, and they've said if you buy like one of our verticals, you get the other ones in a really small edition for free, so you can experience with them, so they can grow their business wider. Is that something you considered as well? But if they buy finance, you get a really small part of HR just to get them.
There is that element as well. For instance, in procurement, so when you buy finance, you buy as well base level of procurement. Therefore, you can start because it's part of the same procure to pay process, right? At the end of the day. So yes, this is kind of the thinking also that we have.
Yeah. So it's kind of, you have multiple starting points for organizations, and they can just adapt the suite more further.
And they can mix and match, yes, along the way.
Mix and match. Okay. Do you have expectations of how this is going to result with your customers? Or did you have some private talks to see how they respond to this?
We did benchmark this before launch, so it's part of our normal due diligence process. So we tend to speak with existing customers and some new customers on how they see it. We will see on in actual implementation how this is going to go. over time, because I mean, with SAP we have done price list changes since years.
Yeah.
I think that this goes a long way to simplify the way of interaction. It doesn't have to be so much on the commercial side. We need to shift the focus more on the adoption and deriving value from the solution. And I think that model is about that discussion. It's not about how much it costs, but how fast we can get to value. And I think that's much more a valuable discussion to have. And actually, we do have this discussion with customers. But many customers come to us and say, it's about an investment. This investment competes with other investments, especially those days. How can we have an insight right from the start, from the beginning, of how that investment is going to pan out? What is going to be the return on our shareholders? And this is a part of what we do with them. Therefore, see the price list as an evolution of several things coming together. Technological advancements from one side, repackaging so that you can mix and match and have some modularity, adoption and value creation that is what customers really want. Nobody wants to purchase an ERP per se, right? They want to get certain outcomes. And this is what we try to do as part of this overall chain.
And it's your SaaS offering, which runs in a public cloud. Does it also mean you can buy it with your credit card online, or do you still need
we
to
would
talk
hope
to
to get we would hope to get to some point soon at this point. We do see that a consultative sales approach does pay dividends at this point because customers have questions, and therefore probably it's not the simplest thing to buy. But we do have an online store that customers can purchase solutions, and we keep updating that store. So once you become a customer, basically you have access to the store. Partners can also add their own solutions, so we create an ecosystem there. And that modality exists to some part. Okay. Mostly in the ERP, customers want to discuss and want to understand, they want to see, etc. But you are right, at some point, we will be at a level of much more fluidity in that space. And, with AI becoming more and more, prevalent in our business, customers would be able to create their own scenarios even. Implementation costs over time will go down. Therefore, you might not need a salesperson or a consultant in order to do that.
And does this give new opportunities for your partners? I can imagine for your partners, it's also a bit of a revelation to see public pricing and know how to handle this. Or
it is, and as partners are basically an extension of our own sales force or our own workforce. This transparency with them already pre-existed also with the previous licensing models. But yes, it's going to be transparent to them. And by the way, we're giving more territory to our partners as part of our go-to-market. We want to move into markets and into directions that partners will be more autonomous, as we call it, in order to be able to create opportunities, follow opportunities with customers, close them, implement them, and close the whole loop without too much intervention from SAP as much as we can.
Okay. And you think this will let SAP grow even faster? Or?
Yes, absolutely. This is a scale, definitely will enable us to have more scale, and we bet on partners' capability to do so.
Okay. And is this position besides to grow with SAP, or is it part of it?
It's part of it.
It's part of it.
It's part of it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Manos, for this great
Thank you very much, Koen. Thank you.
See you next time for another nice interview with SAP.
Thank you, Koen.
Thank you.